Yep, I just hit record as you said so. Alright, so
do you have your headphones? Headphones, motherfucker. Get your fucking headphones on. God damn it. You're gonna fuck everything up. fucking Christ. Okay.
Alright, headphones are on. We're saddled in. I have a Coke Zero to my right. We're ready to go.
Let's do a countdown so I can sync these up.
I agree.
So, 5,
4, 3, 2, 1.
And go. Alright,
so this is the official first episode of whatever we're calling this podcast.
It's currently untitled. We will be naming it hopefully during this episode or at a later fucking time. Probably in 10 episodes.
Yeah, well, we're hoping this episode. Maybe we'll just change it every episode just to keep it on its toes, you know?
That definitely wouldn't be hard to find at all.
No. I like our audience to have to search for us to see if they're real, true fans.
Oh, that's kind of, we leave hints of, like, the previous episode. Like, every 87th word, the third letter of each will be the name of the next episode.
Dude, National Treasure was a huge hit in the theaters. We're just going to make National Treasure as our podcast, you know.
We should just, we should have, like, a thing where, a separate podcast where every day, all we do is, like, watch National Treasure and, like, talk about it. So we just watch National Treasure and talk while we watch it. That would be really fun.
I think that would follow us into a depression. Where that would make the podcast interesting, where we off ourselves saying Nicolas Cage,
just questioning our sanity. So God, let's go through a list of what the names have been, though.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
We could trace this back to our first podcast.
We absolutely could trace this back.
The original podcast name was The Vague Dolphin.
It was, and let's be alright. Honestly, it was a fun name. That's 100% certain. It was a fun name. It originated because we both were into dolphins. We were convinced, as I still am, that dolphins are the next step of evolution. They're aliens put on this planet to take over, and that vaccines are actually just dolphin semen
DNA
that will eventually turn us all into dolphins when the time is right. And so, since that was more or less my religion, we decided that the Vague Dolphin, because we have a vague lifestyle and vague plan of attack, because we just ran at it, would be a perfect name.
Yeah, it was perfect. It definitely fit what our like 2-episode run.
Yes,
definitely fit the 2-episode run.
It's
perfect.
The problem with our previous podcasting stint, I think, was that we had zero plan. It was a little too vague of a dolphin, you know, and there was no producing or marketing tactics used at all. And I'm not saying we're going like full frugal Mark Cuban on this, but we're taking a little bit more professional approach this time.
We didn't even, like, the last time we did this, we did it at, like, your mom's friend's house. We did it in, like, the most strange circumstances ever. It was such a weird way to do a podcast. It was like, we did, like, I think we did 3 episodes, one of which is online. The other 2 are, like, somewhere out there in the ether. And, like, they're definitely, I think they might be on my old laptop. I should totally try to find them. But, God, yeah, so that's just, oh my God.
Hopefully someday we're big enough where those are our throwbacks, you know?
Hopefully. But, yeah, those are what will make us famous.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we had to wait for her to leave so we could go into her house and podcast on her table.
It was such a good time.
And they were long.
We would be there for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
We would always go eat, then we'd go do the podcast, and we'd have to,
we've never had
a weird
an
way
issue.
to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We've never had an issue talking for long periods of time. That is not an issue. The problem was we had no direction at all. I mean, I think we started on a burger buffet, and on the first episode, it was a buffet of burgers, and I don't know where we went after that. We talked about some weird stuff as usual. But I do remember that one of the episodes we were planning on doing the high episode, and
that was the one, like, that was the third one we did, and we recorded it. I might still have. I think I have to have it somewhere. It's definitely somewhere in, like, God. Oh my God, that was I don't remember that. I don't remember that episode. That was a long time ago.
I was gonna say, it just did not turn out well for some reason.
Yeah, I think I don't think we weren't taking it very seriously. And we did it like right before, because our whole plan was when we were going to school together, we were going to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And we just never did.
No, we quit, and yeah, no, we did not take it seriously. There was no structure, there was no plan. We can ramble for hours, but the actual giving direction and making something entertaining to listening to was something we didn't necessarily think of even, we just wanted to talk for hours, and we figured other people might find it funny, which that's a large part of this, is I think people will find us funny, but there's a little bit more structure to this one.
And I think we had to have that podcast to get to where we are now. Honestly. So that like, if you're thinking back, it's like, yeah, I'm going to do whatever, like, what we didn't do then, I'm going to do now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I apologize for the...
I wish we're visually recording this, because I've been watching you go through what you're going through right now. It's quite entertaining.
It is not entertaining on my end, I will tell you that much.
Chase is currently... We should probably introduce ourselves.
Oh.
My name is Lucas. That's mine. It's not like a question. My name, that's what my name is, I'm pretty sure. And the other half to this still untitled podcast is...
Chase Pierce. That is my name, Chase Pierce. I'm going to say it actually one more time, just in case we have to edit part of this out due to the fact that my eye is falling out of my socket. So, one more time. My name is Chase Pierce.
I feel like I should repeat my name. My name is Lucas Luffelman.
But so my name is Chase Pierce. So, I just wanted to
Chase Pierce.
Overpower
Chase Pierce
you.
And Lucas Luffelman. But, yeah. So, we should probably get to the root of this
I agree.
Should we go through... Jesus, we already fucking already got off track.
Alright, yes, yeah, it happened really quickly, actually. In the middle of that conversation, I realized, wow, this is already really going, like, not south, just in a different direction than I had intended. The outline did not help at all. I'm staring at it, right at the outline.
I'm also looking at it, but fuck it. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live. That is going to be something that we get to later on in this, is that it's a free-form, unrestricted thing. But yes, let's back to the agenda. Let me stick this contact in my eye, and then we're going to start on a little bit more about who we are.
Alright, yeah, I guess. So, I'm going to go back to the original thing we started with.
Yes.
So, our original title was one Chase has come up with most of the names for the podcast. I've been very bad about it. I'm just don't have good ideas for names. His first idea was The Unheard, which is a really serious name. Very serious name. Very serious podcast. My idea was The Chase and Lucas Show, which is quite the opposite. Not very serious. A lot of fun. A lot of fun to be had with a name like that. Then we tried to combine them, which I feel like neither of us really were into. When you told me that, I'm like, The Unheard, The Chase and Lucas Show. I was like, it's alright.
Yeah.
Sounds like the title of that sounds like our autobiography. That's what we'll write in like 10 years.
Yes, exactly. Here's the thing about with The Unheard, they all had their pros and cons. The Unheard, I thought the pros were it represented the demographic that this podcast is going to go for. And it was vague enough. It felt interesting. Like if I scrolled past The Unheard, I'd click on it. But the downside was that, as multiple people told me, and as I thought myself, it sounds a lot like a ghost mystery podcast, Like, if I saw that, I'm thinking it's another Serial, And that's... It's a little misleading. Yeah. So, like, people that click on it are going to be people interested in Serial, not people interested in the punk, pop, rock, emo.
Like a variety show.
Yes, exactly. This is very much a variety show, just with one general theme. But, either way, we'll get to that. And, yeah. And so the Chase and Lucas show was good at like encapsulating that we're fun, we're very much a wild topic individuals, but it was a little too radio, I think,
and it's too broad.
Yeah, and that's the thing, it doesn't capture any of the audience that we're trying to get, one, and two, I'm looking for more like an anti-radio vibe,
Sure.
Does that make sense? Like
something very punk. You want to be punk.
Exactly.
That's kind of what this show is.
Exactly. We're punk
It's
people.
kind of who we are.
So might as well have a name that. And then next thing that came up actually at so I was talking with my roommate about where to go with the name, because we were kind of stuck at a creative block on it, and he mentioned the Life's Tune, because this podcast is going to have a general theme, a very general theme of music. And so he came up with the Life's Tune. And I was like, huh, that's interesting, you know, it's a nice play on words. The downside is that, like, it sounds a little too much like, I don't know, like a 30-year-old jazz fans podcast. And I was like, you know, that's just not our demographic. I'm like, these are more people who have, like, been through some shit, feeling some pain, feeling some sadness. Like, I'm more into, like, a name like My Father Beats Me, and that was a joke, obviously. And I was like, he starts laughing, and he's like, oh, that's true, it'll grab some attention. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And I went to sleep at night, and I thought, it's not too bad of a name. Like, it's not what I want, but it's on a track. And I was like, then later on while I was laying there, I'm like, maybe he's drunk again. And I'm like, that's really not a bad name. It's short, it gets the demographic we're going for, and it's a little funny, and it's still sort of vague, you know, where the variety can play in. It still feels a little off. It feels like there's just something in there that's missing or not correct. But, like, I can't put a finger on what it is exactly.
We're in the right ballpark. It's just like it's really fucking hard coming up with a name for something like this, because you want to, like, figure out. We kind of know what we want the show to be, but I feel like we're still not 100%. We're gonna kind of let the show become whatever the show becomes. But, like, we need something that just, like, I need that pop. That's what I kind of want. Like, something that, like, gets in your head, and that name sticks in it, and the name doesn't make sense, but it does at the same time. Like, you kind of want that weird, like, you want both two sides of it, you know what I mean? You want two sides of that coin. It's very tough. I guess let's fuck. We'll come back to the name thing.
Absolutely.
I feel like we could fucking
we'll
go
start
in circles with that forever.
That's what I mean. And so, like, I don't want people to be sitting on here listening to what we're thinking. You know, like, in the sense of, like, us just sitting here being like, oh, I don't know either, man. Like, we'll go through it, and I think some names might come to mind while we go through, like, our outline. I'm hoping. And we'll see. Sound good?
Yeah. Sure, sounds good.
Right,
for now, though, the name is He's Drunk Again.
Yes, for now.
I honestly think that's what the name's gonna be. The more I think about it, the more I like it.
That's
it comes because, like, if you told me, I'm like, I like that. Then I was like, I don't know. But now I'm kind of like reading it, and I said it out loud, and we're talking about it. I think it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, that actually happened to me a little bit, because, like, when I thought about it in bed, I'm like, oh, that's not bad. Kind of went to sleep, and then I told a few people it, and they're like, oh, yeah, that's not bad. And then I'm like, actually, I'm kind of really liking this now that I keep saying it out loud. I'm like, I actually like this name. But so
what if we add a question mark to it, like, He's Drunk Again, like that?
I like that. I either that or, like, 3 ellipses, like a sigh, like ...
Like he's drunk again.
He's drunk again.
Or could you do both? Like, He's drunk again?
Yeah, I do. Ooh, it made me feel a little something.
I kind of like the question. He's drunk again.
That's
like,
fair. That's fair.
Fine.
No, that's I actually. All right. Yes. So for right now, this is the.
I think it's official.
So too.
I'm calling this the official title. This is the official title to me now.
Okay. This is.
If you're okay with that, if we can agree.
A-okay. A-okay with this. I 100% like this idea. So this is the inaugural episode of He's Drunk Again. Wait, sorry. He's Drunk Again?
He's Drunk Again? Question mark?
Brought to you by Lucas Wallaby Leffelman, and Chase Pierce.
My God-given name, Lucas Wallaby Leffelman.
Now, to start on this He's Drunk Again podcast.
He's Drunk Again? Episode 1?
Episode 1? Who knows? Let's give a short background, I think, of who we are, where we come from, why we're, doing this, stuff like that. So, I'll start just so you have an idea. Because I don't know if you really know who you are yet.
I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I am Chase Pierce. I am a college student majoring in economics and a little bit of advertising as a minor. I went to a community college, come from a very small town. I enjoy speaking to people and just speaking, period. I like to talk. I'm a long-form talker. Besides that, I think you'll learn some of my interest and about me throughout the period of this podcast. I mean, it's hard to, go in depth on yourself in once. You just kind of learn from a person over time, I think, so. Now, who are you?
Alright, my name's Lucas, as I stated earlier. I'm from a small town in northern Illinois. I went to the same community college. That's where I met Chase Pierce. I think it was both of us. We both sophomores with the same. We're both sophomores at Sauk. We met through our mutual friend Colin Schrock. And shout out Colin Schrock. But I'm currently not in college. I work a 9-to-5 job, construction. It's great. I love it. So true. Sucks. But yeah, and I'm going back to school, I guess, later this year. And like Chase said, I kind of same thing. We'll probably, the more we do the show, the more you'll learn about me and Chase, both of us, our friendship. We'll probably get into that story eventually of how we actually became friends. That's kind of a funny story.
It is.
When we 100% became friends that over that Christmas break, that was kind of a great story.
It was.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it for me. I mean, I don't really.
That's fair.
It's kind of hard to just be like, well, this is my life story. So you'd go on for fucking hours.
You could do literally a podcast on your own life story, you know. So that's. So basically, what we're doing here, the plan right now, like Lucas said.
Should we say how we decided to start this?
Yeah, for sure.
That's that story.
Absolutely. So I'll actually let you start that.
Okay, so what was it, 3 weeks ago, probably? 3 weeks ago, there was an event called Emo Night that I invited Chase Pierce to, and we will get into Emo Night in a later episode. But me and Chase were hanging out before, and I was talking about we kind of talked about because we don't see each other a whole lot anymore. Now that we live in different places. But I was talking about we kind of talking about the dream. I was like, man, the dream would be to do a podcast. And we kind of talked about what I would want that podcast to be. So I would want a podcast about music and life and kind of all this stuff. And we talking about it, and then I was kind of the end of the conversation. It was kind of just one of those things I would love to do this. If my life could be that would be great. Just another one of those things you always say. And then 4 days later, you texted me, we're like, hey, let's do it. Can we do this? And I was like, dude, fucking A. It's I wanted to ask you there, can we do a podcast? And I was saying, man, we already tried it before. It didn't really work, so, I don't want to ask him again, because I don't want him to be but we were trying, you know what I mean? So I was like, thank God you asked. And then, since then, we decided to do it, kind of change a little bit with the podcast. It would be done. Here you go. You can take over.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, I knew you wanted to ask me there. So, yeah, so we went to, out to eat before Emo Night, and you brought up this idea of, basically, a podcast on music or whatever. And I was in my mind, I was man, yeah, I'd totally love the podcast. And I was but I'm not big into music, who am I to speak on music is basically my mindset at the time. And I was I don't want to basically jump on this if is not meant for me, essentially. But I love podcasting. I've been wanting the podcast all this year. I actually had bought a Blue Yeti microphone that's not working about a month before I met with you, and I was I need to start podcasting. I love to do it. Why would I not be doing that right now, And what happened was there was a few things that happened, basically school and the lifestyle down here, and I was what the fuck am I doing? I want to podcast. Why the fuck am I not podcasting? It literally takes nothing. And Luke is literally my best friend, one of my best friends, wants to do it. Why would we not do it? I think we're funny people. Nonetheless, I don't give a shit. The point is, I want to do this thing. I have the perfect opportunity to do this thing. Why am I not doing this thing? And so then I message you, and I'm fuck it. Let's see what he wants. And I'm hey, let's do this. And you're yes. And ever since then, we've been building more of an idea around it, and actually it's going where I want it. So that was the thing. When I messaged you, I was I hope we actually take this seriously this time. And we're taking it more seriously this time.
For sure. Yeah, and this is kind of a testament to a lot of things in my this. I always say it was big in high school, and even it kept going after. You always say oh, this is what I want to do in my life, but you never take any steps to do it. And so many people do that. I kind of quit saying what I want to do because I'm so sick of being oh, I'm gonna do this, and then I make little effort to do it, or I make zero moves in that way, like making real commitments. Like now, I'm kind of at the point now where it's like, fuck it. If I want to do something, I'm just gonna do it. And fuck it. And fuck anything else. Like this is what my main focus is, and that's kind of how I feel about like this is kind of a perfect like vehicle to do it. It's like fuck it. This is what I want to do in my life. I'm gonna make it work somehow. That's kind of like what I feel like this show could be for both of us. This is what I hope it becomes.
I hope so too. That's the thing. So like, I've always had a problem that this is gonna sound weird and like cocky, but I'm not like bad at anything that I've done, and I'm really good at living the typical life. Like I'm really good at it. That's what I've learned. You know, is that like if I wanted to live a corporate life type style, you know, I could kill it. You know I could. I could be the regional manager anywhere I went, you know, like I'm really good at school, I understand patterns, I meet people well, etc. But I've always known I've never wanted to do that. I've always known that I want to just have something that's my own, and that I'm really good at or maybe I'm not really good, but I know I like to talk to people, especially you. I like to joke around, I like to just have a little fun, learn about people, and I'm like, this would be a thing of my own. This is in the realm that I actually want to do something in, and it's doing something that I enjoy. Podcasting was one of my favorite things. We did it 3 times. 2 of them were you know, but it was still one of my favorite things that we've done, you know? Like,
it was awesome.
It gave us something of our own. And so then it was just like, fuck it, I'm done doing the life I don't want just because I'm good at it. Like, I'm doing what I want to, even if I suck. If I suck at this thing and I can't make any money ever doing this, whatever, I'd probably still do it, to be honest with you, just because I have fun doing it. And ideally, if I could do this for a living, like I could, and a living doing this would require much less money than a living doing anything else. And that's what made me realize, like, why would I go towards the other stuff?
Exactly, yeah. Like, I'm already having a blast. Like, this is already, like, a lot of fun. Like, the highlight of my week so far. Like, this is the best thing that's happened this week. It's awesome. I'm already having a great time.
I 100% agree. But, so, the idea that, like, you originally brought to me was, like, basically a music podcast. It was a short one, just in conversation. It was a music podcast on the music genres that you like, you know? And it was like you bring on local bands or musicians or whatever, and you talk to them, you know? And your thought process was you bring on someone like musically technical, and they'd kind of talk to them too. And I was like, oh, that is a really cool idea and stuff. And that's originally what I was like, oh, well, that, like, I definitely don't fit the bill of like musically technical by any means. But what like switched my mindset later on was that I am I enjoy people so much that, like, and especially like emo night was honestly life changing. It sounds weird, but emo night changed my life, and I'm more than happy to say
That's
that.
Awesome.
But and I enjoy people so much, and especially people within this genre that, like, they all have a story. It's like, and I mean a story that I'd enjoy, I guess, more than anything. Everyone has a story, but they'd have a story in a way that I'd enjoy it, because I believe they come from, like, more hardship. They feel more hardships. I don't know if they come from more hardships, but they're feeling it. They're expressing it in some way or form. But yeah, so a long form podcast where, like, we bring on, in a sense, this is what I'm thinking of, a short summary of our plan right now. Where, like you said, who knows where this is going to go. But a long-form podcast where we bring on guests and we talk. We talk about everything that we want. You know, it's whatever. But we have a general theme of people involved or interested in the genre of music that we enjoy, you know? And because it's a genre that's unrepresented in my mind. I mean, like, what do you even consider the genre that you listen to? What do you call it?
When people ask me, like, if my mom or dad were to say, hey, what type of music do you listen to? I would keep it really simple and just say, I listen to punk music. Mm-hmm. Because that's the easiest way, because, like, punk music's where all this started for me. Like, because if you look at the history, like, punk rock started in, like, the 70s, late 60s, early 70s, like, it's kind of, you can't really pin down a year, because, like, punk is so hard to, like, define. because it's punk. It's just
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Like, when you hear punk, you kind of get an idea of what the like. My favorite definition of punk is from Patti Smith, and she says punk rock is another word for freedom. And I love that definition because to me that's so true. Because like, you look at like the early punk rockers, like the Sex Pistols, the Ramones, like kind of like the people who like define the genre. They're like kind of like speaking out against the government and like anti-establishment, question authority, like all those kind of like iconic things like Search and Destroy, like Black Flag, and all these crazy like ideas, and like they're pretty kind of radical. And I always thought that was like, when I was a little kid, I have a cousin who listens like real punk rock, like he listens like hardcore stuff. I thought it was so cool because it was so like like you're so like unique and it was so different than everything else, and like it was like, and I didn't realize it then, but as I got older, it's like so free. So you're just like, fuck everything, I'm doing it my way. No one else's influence, it's just me. It's just like, no one else is gonna tell me how to do this, I'm doing it my way. And that's kind of like, I love like that thing. That's why like I think I love. So like, it's a long-winded way of saying calling it punk. So I guess I kind of got off the track.
That's totally fair because like I'm gonna bring that up more when I speak about emo night next week, but that was huge for me on emo night, and it's the genre itself is what made me realize that like I've never been necessarily that into music. Like I always say on my like water cooler talks, it's lower on my totem pole. That's what I always tell people, you know. It's not that I don't like music. Of course I like music, but I've always been a mindless listener, and like I've always just not been up to date on talking about it. When people ask me my favorite bands, I just kind of winged it, you know, whatever I listened to last, essentially, you know. And that's a hard question anyway, but still, and genre even, you know, it's just what I'm listening to at the time. But I think partially it was because like it felt weird to like listen to that music because that was a lot of the music that I listened to when I was younger, you know, was the punk pop, punk alternative, indie punk. I've always listened to that type of stuff. That's the stuff I've enjoyed, but like nobody else listens to it. And so like in the areas that I met people, and so like, and it is a hard genre to like give a name or label because it definitely started with like punk for sure. All of them tend to revolve around punk for me and you know, but when people hear punk they think punk rock automatically, and like that's part of it, you know, for sure. But a big problem with like a lot of new punk rock is it all sounds the same to me. They all went off this whole like Black Flag movement where they started just doing what they did and yelling and playing the same like garage band sounds in there. And the problem was that like the whole point of punk is to be different and doing whatever you want to do, and you're just kind of doing what everyone else is doing at that point, you know. And also I'm really into like lyrics. I like to know the lyrics they're saying. I like to relate to the lyrics they're saying, and that was one big thing that got me for this genre, was I honestly felt like I related to the lyrics. And I think that's why people listen to the music they listen to. I think it embodies them as beings, and I absolutely, like, once I started like listening, and this past like 2 weeks I've been listening way more mindfully, and I'm like, wow, like I've literally been a punk fan my whole life. I've embodied that like lifestyle in my head. It's just I've never gotten as much into music as I would have liked to, and now I am, and I'm really digging it.
Yeah, like I remember the first song I listened to that like opened my eyes to music, and it was "The Downfall of Us All" by A Day to Remember. And that, I remember, because I listened to that, I remember when that song came out as a single, and I only listened to it because I saw someone at school, or like at some store with the shirt that said "A Day to Remember," and it looked like a really weird, cool shirt. So I like looked up "A Day to Remember" that day after school. I was probably like 10 or like 11. I was really young. And that was the first song that popped up. It like had just come out as a single, and that song starts like the da 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 da, and like that's like how it starts. I was like, I started playing. I'm like, what in the fuck is this? And then like it just like that song, like that I mean that song is part of an album called Homesick, which is like one of the best albums ever. It's one of my favorite albums. I have a lot of favorite albums, so that's like one of them. And that album's just about like being like away from home. I missed it so much. I didn't really relate to it at the time, So it's like, this is like such great music. Then I went back and listened to their like first 2 albums. Like, this is such amazing music. And then that just like blew open the doors to like this whole world I didn't even know existed. So that let me at that time, I got really into screamo because I liked Slipknot at the time too. So I got into like screamo and like heavy metal and all this kind of like crazy like violent, angry music. And so it was perfect for like a kid who was like 11 and 12, like for like 3 years I was into that. Like A Day to Remember was always the one that was like at the core. So it like made me feel something. It was like the way I always described it is they sang what I was thinking and I didn't even know I was thinking it. Mm-hmm. They took the thoughts right out of my head and threw them on in front of me. I was like, they made me confront, like, it was just like, made me like really kind of realize what music was to me. Like it kind of, before I even like realized, like, it taught me like kind of a lot of, like that band taught me a lot about myself and like made me learn a lot of things. That led me into like a bunch of, that just kind of like threw me into like the pop punk world, which is like definitely what is like what I listen to more than anything. It's like pop punk, which is also another very fucking broad genre, which is really hard to like put a fucking like direct like definition on it. But
yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. It's a hard genre to label, and that's why like I brought this up because I'm like, it's because I've had to explain the music I like to people when they ask me about it or they ask me about emo night or whatever, you know, they want to ask me about. I have to explain it, and it's difficult because it's funny you mentioned Slipknot and the heavy metal bands because I went through the same pathway, and I think that's like part of it. I really do because I was super into Korn, Slipknot. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I went hard, and if you look at my workout playlist, it's still heavy metal and stuff. Like I dig it. But like it's the pathway because next I went on to like not indie music. I went on to like indie folk, like the Mountain Goats and stuff
Mountain
like
Goats
that.
Are sick.
Yeah, I love the Mountain Goats, and so I went on to them because like the heavy metal really gave me those like emotions. Like I was feeling it. I felt powerful when I listened to heavy metal, you know? And then indie was way more like, wow, like these lyrics, like I'm feeling it, dude. These are weird, but I know what you're thinking. I'm weird. Like I know what you're thinking right now. Like I feel like you guys are like could be friends with me if we met, you know? For all those bands, like they understood me. And then this pop punk genre, and like it's weird calling it that because people hear pop and they automatically have a negative stereotype. People hear emo and they automatically have a negative stereotype, you know? Like it's this weird thing where you're ostracized no matter what way you label this genre. But either way, this genre is a weird mixture between like the lyrics of indie to me where like they feel me, they understand me for sure, but they also make you feel powerful and like good about those feelings, you know? Indie music, I'm not gonna lie, if I listen to too much, I get depressed. Like it brings you down, you know? Like it's like, wow, you understand me too much, but you're not like making me feel good about these thoughts. And then like the heavy metal was way too like, yeah, I'm a badass, and then like I just get humbled real quick or something. But like this one was more like, wow, you guys understand me, but like I shouldn't feel bad about it, you know? Like I should feel good about these thoughts I'm having or this whole feelings that I'm feeling, you know, on my end.
Yeah, like it's gonna sound weird saying it, but like pop punk like kind of made me feel like I had a home outside of my home. Mm-hmm. So when you're like a teenager, you're like, it's like probably the weirdest time of your life. You got like all these insane hormones going on. You're like confused all the time, and like you feel all these emotions because like your just life is like changing, and like you feel like no one understands you, and you don't think you understand anybody else. Your parents don't understand you, friends don't understand you, and you're like just going through this insane time. And like it was around the time I was getting ready to go into high school. Like you start caring about girls, then you start dating, like things just get really weird. I just remember like listening to like bands like A Day to Remember and like it's bands like that, and just be like, God, like this is like the one place I feel safe. It was like the one place I felt like I was understood, and then it made me realize that there was like other people out there like me. It wasn't just like I wasn't alone anymore. You know what I mean? That was like really scary. Like as a kid, you feel that way. You feel like you're alone in the world. Then when you discover like music, I think a lot of people go through something similar with like music. Cause like every genre has an audience, and you realize like I'm part of like this giant community now that loves this thing, and like they cherish this thing more than anything. This thing is their life. It's like their baby, and they will just all they want is to fucking take care of it. There's something so like beautifully pure about that. Mm-hmm. That's like kind of why it's why I love this genre so much, because everybody cares so fucking much that it fucking hurts. Like, kills you how much you, like, love this. Like, when we went to, like, I'll talk about it, like, when we went to emo night, everyone there was fucking, like, at level 100. They were all, like, the highest they could possibly be, because, like, they gave a shit. And it's so rare that you see people caring that much. It's so fucking rare. Like, I don't think many other genres have that.
And they care so much and have so much. It's weird because they care so much but have so much carelessness. I literally feel so free to do whatever that they made me feel free. They inspired me to be like, fuck it, dude. Let's just do it, you know? And that's what led me to this. And I'll talk about it more, obviously, next week. But
for sure.
And, yeah, no, I 100% agree. That's the thing. Is so, like, I've noticed that, too. There's a community for every genre. There absolutely is. And when people, like, find that community, they feel better. You know, they feel encapsulated, just like people do with religion and sports and stuff. They feel like, oh, there's other people just like me. They're really into this thing, and we can all be together into this thing. But, like, the weird thing about this one, too, is that it's so, like, small of a community that when, like, you meet others, you're like, whoa, no way you're into the same thing as me, because all throughout your life, you're told, like, why are you into that? That's weird. That sounds odd. You know, like, why are they singing about this and stuff, you know? And I actually just had an interaction with a random person in my school who's, like, the president of this club, and he had an Aaron West in the Roaring Twenties t-shirt on, and I was like,
nice.
Yeah, I was like, he was like, hey, I like your Crocs, and I was like, I like your shirt. And he's like, no way, you're a fan. And I'm like, I'm a fan. And he's like, oh my god, we have to talk about, like, this event I went to where he was there and he was literally at his own merch booth and stuff. And I was like, dude, this is so cool. And we talked for like 10 minutes about this thing, really, like, connecting with one another because we're both into this weird music genre of, in my opinion, more like hurt people singing about their own hurt. And it's so underrepresented that we connected stronger because there's so little of us.
So, quick side note.
Yeah.
Just so you know, my laptop quit recording for about 15 minutes. So, just so you know. It's back now. I fixed it. But just so you know. Keep going on.
I saw you
That's
look...
awesome, though.
Yeah. I saw you look a little weird. And I was like, oh, something wrong. Maybe he just shat himself. But I think he...
It'll be alright. It's okay. You won't hear, like, me talk for like 20 minutes of the podcast. But
my end's catching you, so you might be able to.
Okay, maybe you'll hear a little bit.
See a little bit of it,
but
yeah, no. So it was really cool. It was a really cool connection I had over, like, this music that, like, I've been into, but I didn't think that there was enough of us out there. You know.
It always feels that way until, like, because I remember the first time, like, my favorite band of all time is the Wonder Years, and I remember the first time I saw them live. I went with, like, one of my best friends who also, like, loves that band. And I was the whole time I'm going, like, is anybody going to be there, or is it just going to be us? Like, are we the only two listening? Then we went, there was, like, so many, the room was full of people. We're like, whoa. And then immediately, like, these people, like I could be friends with anybody in this room. Because everybody in this room has, like, something they love, and it's going to be on stage in, like, 2 hours. And we all get to sing along and have a fucking awesome time together. It's so cool. It's so fucking cool.
And
I love it.
That's the thing. Is so what made me realize that I was always this person into this genre and I just hadn't found the music yet was that when I found the music and I see the people that are interested in the music, they're exactly like me. Like, that's the thing. And so, like, I hadn't lived my life at all being a punk fan in the sense of, like, oh, I'm a punk fan, I'm into the same, like, demographics as other punk fans and I follow that route. I've never been like that anyway in anything, you know, but, like, especially this, I'd never followed a punk route because I hadn't been into music that much, but I was subconsciously following a punk route anyway because, like, I was acting just like these people, I was learning like these people, and I ended up becoming one of these people. I had always been a punk fan, I just had not found the music yet.
Yeah, it's crazy how much, like, music has had an impact on me. But when I think about it, it's like music is probably, like, the biggest thing that shaped my life. Definitely being it.
You got even, like, more into music. It seemed like you've always been into music. Don't get me wrong, but, like, you seemed like you got more into it, like, this year especially, or at least once you were in Edwardsville alone.
Yeah, because I think it was like the first time in my life I was like 100% alone. Because like quick side note, you and me went to college together for 3 years. Really, like we went to community college for 2 years together. We didn't know each other all 2 years, but then we went to university together for a semester, and then you left. I was kind of like I didn't really make any friends first semester, so I was like kind of like not really feeling school. I was just going through like a rough time or whatever. And then you left, and I was kind of like, well, I'm kind of like on my own. But like the first time in my life, like I was kind of like stranded. Like I was kind of like, it almost felt like I was on a deserted island, like by myself. I was like, weirdly, it was like, I guess like, if I was on a deserted island, all I had was my like fucking phone and all the music I loved. So I just like, I constantly had headphones in, like constantly. I would be in class and I'd be listening to music the whole time. It's like mostly the same shit. Like I would just keep listening to the same albums over and over and over again, like just to like kind of make myself feel better. And then I think the biggest thing this summer is that I started listening to vinyl. I bought a record player, and that like took it to a whole new level. Just because now like I could look at it, I could feel it in my hands, and I had this weird connection where like if I reach down right next to me, I can pull out like some of my favorite albums of all time, and I can look at them. I can hold them in my fucking hands. There's something so special about that. And like I've listened, like one of my favorite albums of all time is Enema of the State by Blink-182. It's like one of the best albums ever for me. I can pull that out, I can put on my record player, I can clean it, and then I drop the needle, and now I have a weirdly special connection with that playing. Because I was like, I got to sit up, and I played it, now it's just me and the music. And there's something so like pure about that, and like it doesn't even like, I'm not like gonna be that guy that's like, oh, this sounds so much better, because I don't hear a difference, I don't have the ear for it. I just like it because it's fun, and it helps me appreciate my music more, and like listen to it in a different way. It's like then when I do that, it'd be stupid for me to sit on my phone while I play music. You know what I mean? Because then it'd be like such a waste of the work. Not that it's that hard, but like it'd be such a waste to like pull it out, play it, and then just like sit there and get on Facebook and scroll through Facebook for the next hour, however long you're gonna listen to. So it makes me like sit there and like soak in every aspect of it. I just like love it, and like yeah, since this past year, like I've gotten into music way more. You're probably right. It's probably pretty accurate.
So like, you like vinyl because it, in a sense, compels you to actually listen to music. So you feel a closer connection, but you think it's because you're actually listening to music. It's not necessarily because it's like vinyl, you guess, but like it leads you to do this thing where you actually sit down and you feel the music, and you're like feel more connected to the music because you have held this thing in your hand, and then you're honestly sitting there and listening to it.
For sure, like that's exactly. And like I've always listened to music. Like whenever a band I liked came out with a new album, I always like when I was in high school, like I remember when like a big, like this is gonna sound like it sounds kind of dumb saying it, but like a huge moment in my life was when A Day to Remember's 5th album, it's Common Courtesy, that album came out, and there was a whole like story behind that album. Like there's a lawsuit, the band was like, we might not be a band anymore, this album might never get to see the light of day. It was super depressing because it was like the height of A Day to Remember for me. Like they couldn't have been any bigger in my life. Like every album had gotten better and fucking better and fucking better. Then they released a single called Violence, and it was amazing. And then I was like, I might never get to hear this album, and I was super like bummed out. Then I listened to it, and like it was just like life changing because every album was amazing, and like it came out in between the summer of sophomore year and junior year. So like junior year was like kind of like, I feel like that's everybody's like big year in high school. Like that's when like all the biggest shit happens. So people always like get into relationships and like blah 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 blah. But like that album was like the story of my life for like 2 years, probably. That album, it was definitely like a good year and a half. Like that, weirdly enough, that album like got me to like ended a relationship. A song on that album like finally gave me like we're gonna call it, gave me the push, but yeah, like break up with this person, so like not good for you anymore, and you're not good for them. Just end it. Like weird. It's so weird that music did that. That it gave me like that push.
I was gonna say, that made you feel more, as we've like mentioned with this genre, it made you feel more free, in a sense, more powerful. Like you should be just doing what you want, not something that you're used to or supposed to do. And that's probably what like pushed you. Is that what you're thinking?
Not quite. like, it's not that I was afraid for the relationship to end.
Uh-huh.
I just didn't really, like, I remember the song I'm talking about is Leave All the Lights On.
Mm-hmm.
And that song is very much about, like, we're just fucking going in circles, and you're holding me back, and I'm holding you back. This isn't going anywhere. It's just, like, horrible, and, like, it's just, like, a bad relationship for both parties. And, like, the title of the song's, like, leave all the lights on, maybe I'll find my way back home. So it's something, like, that, I think you can kind of interpret that however you want, but, like, that was kind of what the push that was, like, yeah, I need to, like, it's like, that album's kind of, that song's kind of about just, like, saying goodbye to someone, just being like, yeah, it's, like, it's, you kind of got to listen to the song, because, like, I don't want to, just, like, sing, like, tell you what the whole song is, just, like, but it's kind of hard to explain. I just remember, like, hearing that song, because I had heard it before, but, like, wasn't dating anybody when that album came out. Then, like, I got to a 2-year relationship. Like, one day I just put on that album, and I was, like, driving or whatever, I was doing something. That song came on. It started playing, and it's, like, a really catchy song. It has, like, a really upbeat sound. It's, like, super depressing. It started playing, I'm, like, listening, I'm like, oh my god. Like, I'm not happy. Like, it just, like, clicked. Because I was like, Jesus Christ, like, I've been, like, living a lie, like, the past month. And I was like, oh my, then, like, that's, like, I was like, I gotta get out of this. And it was kind of weird how that song, like, bloop, like, opened my eyes to it. Yeah. And a few other songs, but that was, like, a big one. That was the song that opened my eyes.
Well, like, the music does. It makes you feel the emotions that, like, it's so weird how much emotions music makes you feel, you know? It makes you think thoughts that you weren't previously thinking because you're feeling differently when you listen to this song. And, like, it's really weird. And so, like, that's why I think music, like, definitely embodies its audience, you know? It is its audience because, like, it sends these emotions to these people. It helps them act or has them think in certain ways. Like, it's obviously not like their own brain, but it's still changing their life because it's so meaningful to them. And, like, this genre specifically sends this meaning of, like, you know, power in a good way, you know, freedom, like, do what you want, man. Like, if this isn't helping you, go do what helps you, you know, follow your happiness, you know. It's about being sad, but it's also about being sad, so go do what you want so you're not so sad anymore.
So, like, what if you had how has music impacted your life? Like, what are some moments in your life that you can, like, music has, like, kind of been a big part of it?
So, like, honestly, it's made me more, like, sad for most of my life than anything else. That's the Mountain Goats were a big part, because I remember this because it was junior year as well, and it was kind of a vice versa. I was getting broken up with, and I knew it. I knew I was going to be broken up with about 5 months before I actually got broken up with. And she wanted to then. I was like, no, you know, I'm a junior. It's my first relationship. I'm feeling like I cannot, this is my end all be all. I cannot lose this part of my life, you know? Yeah. I had not learned the cutting dead weight process yet, you know? And so when I listened to so much Mountain Goats during that time, and it made me so sad. And, like, in a good way, I needed to feel that sadness, to be honest. But, like, it made me feel sad because I felt connected, and they were singing about their own sadness. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm really feeling these emotions. And I'm like, I feel what you're singing. And I guess how it changed is, like, during that time, I ended up getting broken up with a little bit, like, whatever, like I said, 5 months after that. And right after that point, I started listening to, like, music as loud as I can. It was much more of, like, the pop variety, you know? So I had made this switch from indie to pop, and the pop was so happy that it, like, drowned out the sadness for me, you know? I went through a really hard time because, like, in my life, I had not learned how to cut people off yet. All I knew is that I had this person who, in my mind, was essentially my identity, and I just lost my own identity. And so then the music is always in my life. It's been much more of, like, a drowning of my thoughts. I have trouble not thinking. So, like, I have trouble sleeping because I can't stop thinking. And I have trouble, like, just not thinking about the future or the past or whatever's happening in super detail. And so music has always been more of a drowning of my thoughts than anything else. And that's more or less what has changed recently, and I mean like super recently, past 2 weeks. Instead of just using music to drown my thoughts, I've decided to like leave my brain on while I listen to music. And so that's a big difference.
That's how I've always listened to it.
See, and that's the thing. So I've always used it as just this drown, and now I'm allowing my thoughts to be thinking while I'm listening. And like, I beat around the bush a little bit on that one, and there might be some stuff we can cut, but the point is, like, the reason is because, like, I didn't want to go too much into, like, emo night, and that's the most recent way that, like, I left my brain on while I was at emo night, and that was life-changing.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah, that's a... Yeah, I just... Jesus.
We can go back to a little bit, like, all right, so I thought about, like, what we want to, like, achieve out of this podcast, because essentially this episode's about an introduction to who we are, what we're about to do, and what we want to get out of this thing. And it's also was kind of us defining what this genre is, because it's so vague. And yeah, so like what we like to achieve out of this, in my mind, is basically, on my end, it's a platform to hear from like this genre of music, people involved in this genre of music, because it is such a tight-knit community, and understand those people, to be honest. Like I said, I love people. I love understanding people, like why they do what they do. I think everyone's got a deep story, and I want to like actually listen to these people, have a connection, and understand them in a very like free form, open, no restrictions way, where they just tell their stories, their beliefs, their troubles, whatever they want to talk about. Let's let it loose, man.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And I also want this to be a platform for us. Because this is kind of going to be... This podcast is going to be about a lot of shit. A lot of it music, a lot of it kind of whatever. It's kind of like our main thing with music, but like it's also going to be like kind of, at least for me, I would think for you, because we kind of talked about this already, but like our outlet. It's going to kind of be where we just come and talk. We're not going to talk about like the fucking monotony of like our day, whatever bullshit like that. It's no one... I wouldn't want to hear myself talk about that. And that's kind of annoying. You're like, oh, my day was pretty shitty, and blah, blah, blah. Like, just hearing us talk and, like, just, like, having a good fucking time. Like, this episode hasn't been, like, this episode's been kind of serious just because I'm trying to get, like, the intro episode, the first episode. But, like, oh, Jesus, I just crushed that. Oh, Christ, that might be broken. Just broke something in my room. Great. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a platform for, like, us. And just to, like, for us to have a lot of fun, like, because we have a lot of fucking plans for this show. Like, we've been talking about this a lot. Like, we've been, for the past month, it's just been us planning this and, like, getting it going. And, like, we're both kind of putting, like, our fucking heart and soul into this. Like, really, like, putting a lot of fucking time and energy and, like, just to kind of, like, we can talk about, like, what we want to do later in it, but, like, yeah, like, this kind of be, like, our everything, I guess. Like, fucking, almost like I feel like, sounds really fucking dumb, but like it's gonna be kind of like our diary, or like our fucking... What were we gonna say? You gonna say something?
I thought you were gonna say child. We did not sync up the way I thought we were gonna sync up on that. I was gonna say child at the same time you said child, and then you said diary. And yeah, so that will be embodiment of our connection. We have none, me and you. We should actually probably end this whole plan anyway. Everything you planned out. Let's just, as you were talking about you putting it in your heart and soul into it, I realized, man, we should just stop this. Put it in the shredder. Break his heart early.
Oh fuck. Fuck.
No, you said it perfectly. I mean, that's what I was going to basically say too. Was like, it's a platform for us to share our ideas and just talk, let it all out. Like, I feel like shit when I don't talk and actually let out my true feelings or like ideas. I'm not gonna come on here and be like, everything's falling apart. It's just like that's not what I mean by true feelings. I just mean like I have a lot of thoughts in my head. As I said, I can't stop thinking, and like I want to talk about them. They're fun. I like talking about them, and just like looking back and seeing what I thought, and then I like creating stuff. I feel weird not having anything that I like is mine, you know. That's why I was gonna say it's like my baby. You said diary, that works too, but like the point is it's mine, you know. And the biggest thing that I said is like I want to have fun with this. Like you said, this one I was literally thinking that this one has not been as fun as I expected, but it's like it's been fun. It just hasn't been as joking as we usually are, me and you. You know, we're usually very open and stuff, but like fun. And this one's been a little bit more serious, and it's because we're also going into like more detail heavy stuff and like opening up about things so we can actually move forward and just feel free to just jump, you know, have fun next time, you know. So this one's been a little bit more serious, but I have a feeling, knowing me and you, that this one's going to turn out to be like I plan to keep along the same theme of this music as like the basically the base of the pyramid. But I do have a feeling there's going to be a lot of bricks on top, and
a lot of fucking bricks.
Yeah.
This is going to get weird as fuck at some point. Like, at some point, it's going to take a weird turn, and I'm really looking for. I'm trying to figure out when that's going to be.
Yeah.
It's definitely, like, we're weird people, so like we're going to talk about a lot of shit. Things are going to get super fucked up. We're definitely going to have fucked up conversations with some of our friends we're going to have on, which we'll talk about in a bit, I feel.
Yeah, totally. That was sort of after this. We were talking about like structure, idea, plan, stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, and that's the other thing. So like I mentioned that like sort of after this we're talking about this. It's not like it's the other thing about this. It's very freeform. So like I have down notes, but it's not like, oh, if we don't hit this, like, oh, what's the point? Like, no, not a chance. Like we're just kind of up here talking, and we're gonna let it go wherever it goes. And that's why one of the reasons that I have a feeling it is gonna get a little weird, because I'm gonna be honest, we're really fucking weird people. Like, that is, I think, the main reason that we've connected so well is because we are very weird. And everyone we meet thinks that we are too weird to hang out with.
Yeah, we're really weird.
But
together we're even weirder.
It gets so much worse.
Like, we just elevate each other in like the best possible ways.
I didn't realize it as much until I started living with you, and then the roommates were all normal people. So we came off as so much weirder.
Oh, it was great.
But I loved it.
So many good stories.
I started realizing it actually at our community college, because like when I'd say a weird thing or you'd say a weird thing, the other one would like pique the interest. We'd be like,
yeah, the other one would start laughing. The other one would be like, oh, Jesus.
They crossed the line on that one.
Yeah, I don't think that's appropriate. Shit like that.
Exactly. But yeah, alright, so like I just mentioned like for what the structure roughly of this whole thing is going to be. I think it's going to be roughly 1 to 2 hours of a freeform talk, and like I don't want it to be necessarily like a chore for people to listen. We've talked about this in the like month long of planning, but like I love long form free talks, you know. It actually allows you to like understand people at more than a base level, but the problem is with like just letting it go for as long as it goes is sometimes you get into these like 3-4 hour podcasts where me and you would have no problem talking for that length, but nobody wants to listen to us for 3-4 hours. I said it, like my mom would be like, I'm not fucking listening to you for 3-4 hours. Like, no, that sounds annoying as shit. And I'm like, oh, sorry, Mom. But yeah, exactly. So like I think keeping it to around 1 to 2 hours, like I think 2 hours is like our cutoff. Where like if we're approaching 2 hours, we should probably be like, all right, we should probably wrap this thing up. We'll cover the rest next time, type thing, you know.
I'd be like, we'll probably record for longer than that, but like we'll split them up.
Yeah.
Just because it's when I see like someone has a podcast for 4 hours, like fuck, when am I gonna listen to that? I hate starting and stopping a podcast because like, what were they talking about? How did they get to? Because like if it's 2 hours, I mean that's a movie. It's like kind of just like watching a movie, you know.
It takes dedication.
It's about perfect length. 2 hours, I would say, perfect length.
I'd say so too. I like to think of it more as like a drive type thing. Oh, I gotta drive this place, this place, this place. Oh, what can I like? I'll listen to this thing, or I gotta walk class to class to class. But like the 3-4 hour ones, it's like, oh, that's gonna take me like 3 weeks just to listen to that. Like walking class to class to class. I think about it more in like a week setting. You know, like I got these places to drive, these places to walk to. Can I listen to this in a week type thing? And if it covers that, you know, perfect. And you know, yeah. And like I said, no restrictions in my mind. Like we let it go where it goes. We have ideas of what we want to talk about, and we move forward with that. Like we already know, like next week we're talking about roughly emo night and a concert you went to. But
yeah, next week is gonna be fucking lit.
Mm-hmm.
Like next week. Like this episode has kind of been like all over the place. Next week it's gonna be a long podcast for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like that one is probably gonna break 2 hours if I had to guess.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, it will, and like we're just gonna kind of go with it because that next week's gonna be a fun episode. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, it sounds like you have a lot to talk about. I
have
some
a lot to talk about.
Things to bring up about how emo night changed my life. So I mean, yeah, no, it should be fun. And then like we've talked about it. It's kind of like these episodes, these first few, are more or less like me and you learning the ropes of this thing. Like we love talking, we love doing this, but we've done 3 episodes. I think you've done a couple more before that, but the point is, like, we are by no means experts in editing, publishing, finding
anything.
I have literally never been an expert in anything in my life. Like
I literally accidentally quit recording for at least 15 minutes of this episode. That shows. Like, I literally accidentally stopped recording for a chunk of it. There's a chunk of this where I'm not, like, it's like, oh, Lucas just left. He just kind of walked away and Jason's talking to himself.
I may have bought a microphone that's not compatible with my computer. The problem is, I don't know because I'm too dumb to figure it out. I go to settings, I look at the board that says microphone, I say, Blue Yeti's not there, not compatible. And I don't know what else to do. I looked on some YouTube videos, it was a bunch of random people that I can barely understand talking about how they're mad at their Mac, and I don't get it. I just don't get it. So yeah, no, we're not experts is the point. So these first few, probably a lot more than that, considering our vast lack of knowledge, will be like us learning the ropes and stuff.
It's gonna be a bumpy road. It's gonna be a bumpy road. I think after like 5 or 6 episodes, we're gonna start getting the feel of it. For sure.
I think so too.
God, I keep breaking shit in my fucking room. I guess I got busy hands. But
you don't masturbate enough.
But it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. For sure. So we're trying to get to the point where we have like a very like good podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to have a lot of fun, but I also want like a good show. I want people who listen to be like, man, they do like a good job.
Mm-hmm.
They try. They have like good episodes. They have good content. Like they don't just like fucking ramble on about random shit, which we definitely are going to. But I just hope it's funny. Like I hope people laugh and enjoy it. So we're definitely gonna ramble about stuff.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think. I assumed a lot of this is working on our content. You know what I mean? Like nobody becomes like. I shouldn't say that. Some people are actually talented, but people like me do not become successful like right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like no, it takes a lot of time and stuff. You know, like we have to actually we had to take this seriously. We couldn't do it like we did it the first time. You know what I mean? Because we would have just turned the mic on and ran for 4 hours every time talking about random shit that like we would have found funny, but everyone would have been like, what the fuck are they talking about now? Like,
and eventually we would have ran out of shit to talk about.
Exactly.
And then we would have just been like, oh, well, you remember that time we talked about this? That was pretty funny. And I just would have been like really old and got old really quick.
Yeah.
Which with this, we're like, fuck, dude, I have like 8 pages of notes here.
Exactly. You sent me an outline that I looked at. I'm like, this is like 4 episodes. Like, wow. Like, which is good. Like, I'm glad.
Totally could be.
Yeah, and that's why I was like, dude, let's hit up just like an intro on this one because we can get into more stuff on the next one. You know, whatever. And
it's a good call.
That's just it. So like, I think over time this will become a better podcast. I apologize for anyone that suffers through every single podcast, but I would like to promise you that it will get better. So
it will. It definitely will. I would like to apologize. I'm going to apologize now and at the end. I am really sorry that I quit recording halfway. Like, so like we've been on Skype for an hour and 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I've been recording for 54 minutes. Somehow I paused recording like 28 minutes in, and then we started up like 12 minutes later.
That's a large period of time. That was longer than I thought.
That was when we were talking about some good shit too. I was like, God damn it, I missed all that.
Because I have an hour and 5 now minutes. So yep, that means you missed a solid 10 minutes.
Fuck.
But well, I know on my end, like, I don't understand this, but when you speak, bars go bigger. So I'm assuming that means it's recording you.
I'm talking right now. Are the bars moving?
Bars are like whoa.
Like a lot?
Yeah. No, like it seems like it's really catching you. Like scream for a second.
If it's catching me a lot, maybe we'll just upload yours. Mm-hmm. So the sound quality of this one might kind of suck.
Okay.
Just so everybody knows. But yeah, fuck it. Let's talk about the future, Chase Pierce.
Let's talk
about the motherfucking future. So we have a lot of plans.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I want to say is our tentative plans right now. These might change a bit, but we will record every week. We will record every week. It's a promise we're making right now to each other, to whoever listens. Which I know there's a few people who listen, like our friends that we kind of make listen to it at first, and hopefully they spread the word.
I was going to stand on campus and get on my hands and knees and beg people to listen.
Listen to my podcast. Listen to it. Listen. I'm literally shouting in my apartment, but nobody's home. But yeah. So we're gonna record every Wednesday. Every Wednesday night, we're gonna Skype and we're gonna record and see how that goes. If I can figure out the editing, which I have YouTube, so I don't see why I couldn't. But then I'll try to upload it by Friday night, so then everyone can listen to it over the weekend and for the week. And yeah, that's what we're gonna start with. And I have a lot of plans for this. Even like this month, I have a few plans.
Oh really?
It's spooky October. Do some spooky plans. But yeah. So let's what do you? Okay, so. Got the weekly shit out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, there's some other, like, fun stuff we're kind of planning, too. Like, I liked your idea of us giving each other something to review for the next week. And, like, we'll deal with this. Like, I was going to give you your thing at the end, but, like, we could talk about it a little bit now.
Well, yeah, we'll do that. We'll exchange at the end. But, like, the idea was that just to kind of, I just kind of had this idea just because, like, well, when we start, we're going to be a bit bumpy, so we're going to kind of need shit to talk about. So I was like, if every week we end the show with, like, hey, Chase, go watch this episode of this TV show. Come back next week and tell me what you think. Or, like, hey, listen to this song every day. Like, make this song the first thing you listen to when you wake up and tell me what you think. Kind of like, not challenges, but you can kind of, like, take it however you want. Just give me something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a task, like, hey, like, don't, like, fucking do this weird thing, like, all week. So, that's, like, eventually we could do, like, something kind of weird like that, like, weird challenges or whatever. But, like, for now, we'll be like, hey, watch this movie. And it can be a movie you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It can be whatever you want, like, whatever the other person choosing. Go somewhere to eat, blah, 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 anything. So, at the end of the episode, we'll do that. We'll exchange the thing, so.
And I think we need a name for it. I was thinking, like, check this shit out.
I like that. That works. Works for me.
Yeah. I figured something small, but, like, I want to be able to say, like, weekly check this shit out, you know, so.
How about shiz? Check this shiz out.
Check this shiz out. Jizz?
Jizz.
Check this
shiz.
Jizz out.
It's like CHJIZZWX. That's how we spell it. Check this shiz out. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like, I liked that idea a lot. And then, besides that, like I've said, we're going to bring on friends, and I do plan on, like, bringing on, I'd like to bring on local artists and bands and stuff that we see or that just interest us and stuff. I think that'd be cool. I think when we do those and start doing those more often, it'll be less of the Skype and more like in person, all of us together going at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because, like, I'd like the whole table reaction type thing with it, you know? And so, yeah, that is my personal, like, goal, just because I think that'd be more fun. It gives us more material, and it's just interesting to learn about new people. People are going to get fucking tired of us, so I figure they ought to listen about other people, too.
Sure, yeah, I agree. A few plans. well, I'll talk about future episodes in a minute, but one idea where I had that it's kind of ties into the future plan, episodes one, but late night drive podcast. So the idea was, it started with me thinking about like, when do people talk about weird shit? And it's always late nights in a car for me. I've always had like some of the best conversations on late night drives, because something about being up late, you're getting very tired. It's kind of like the same way that alcohol has the effect on you. You kind of let your guard down, and you're just kind of saying whatever. Because you kind of, in my mind, people are always like, what can I say that gets me home quickest, and I get to go to fucking sleep? You know what I mean? Because whenever you have late night car rides, it's always like, tell me how you feel. It's always shit like that. Like, you're telling the other person your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I'm telling you, they kind of just don't tell you. Or not even like just to go home and sleep, but they're just kind of like trying to like, they're tired, so they're not thinking about what they're saying, so they're just getting all this shit off their chest. I think they're subconscious being like, maybe it's like more they're subconscious being like, all right, say all this shit so we can fucking just get it out of me. Like, I'm so sick of dealing with like all this bullshit. The idea being like, we get me and Chase, a friend or two friends, in a car together, and I'm gonna buy a little microphone that we can put in my car, like record off my phone, and we just like late night drive around wherever and just talk.
Yeah.
And just kind of like have weird conversations about whatever. Like, those are gonna definitely be like the really free form episodes.
Yes.
Because we'll just be like in a car driving, or just like wherever.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a drive. I've even thought about like campfire episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where we sit around a fire and like it'd be kind of cool aesthetic, like hearing the camp,
Mm-hmm.
fucking fire crackling in the background. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. And my thought process even for those is that they'd be more of like extras, you know? So like, we
Yeah,
might still
yeah.
do our normal weekly one, but then like, hey, we're also going on this trip this weekend. Like, might as well just podcast on that too, you know?
Like, he's drunk again, campfire edition. Like,
He's
something
drunk
like
again?
That. Like episode 1. He's drunk again? Campfire edition. With an exclamation point behind campfire edition.
He's drunk again? Lucas wasted.
Exactly. Perfect. Yeah.
Which reminds me, like, I thought about this earlier for the title of this specific episode, like, what the fuck is punk, or what is punk, or something like that.
My plan is...
Let's hear it.
I was going to tell you this. I was just going to start doing it.
Yeah.
I was going to name every episode after a Seinfeld quote.
Oh, really? I don't mind. I don't dislike that at all.
Seinfeld, and I was just going to, like, watch an episode and pick a line and just throw it on the episode title. Like, because every episode has, like, a weird something. Like, my first episode, I was going to call it Mole, Freckles' ugly cousin. Just because, like, I thought it was weird, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's kind of
I like it.
goofy.
Once
I run out of those, I'm going to switch to, like, a serious show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some serious, like, I don't know what, like, Game of Thrones or something like that, or, like, West Wing or some show like that, and just, like, throw weird quotes. I'm going to pick, like, weird shit.
Schindler's List is very quotable.
Or pull a line from the episode, like, that doesn't make any sense. Just, like, throw it in. Like, I would have to, like, I don't know. That was my plan, though, for the first couple episodes, just Seinfeld quotes.
I like it. I do like it. I came up with the title. I agree with this 100%.
Okay, perfect. I was just gonna do that. Unless, like, the episode, like, it just depends on the episode, but I thought it'd be funny for, like, the first couple, we just had Seinfeld quotes.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's funny. And, yeah, no, so also, like, long term, I plan on putting these on, like, Podbean, Spotify, and Apple. I know, I've looked into it a little bit, so, like, I'm gonna continue to look into it, and if they're free, I'm going to create accounts for those already, just to kind of set it up. If they're not free, then I'm going to look into how much it's going to cost, and we'll move forward as time goes on. But, yeah.
For now, it's going to be on YouTube.
YouTube, specifically.
Which, I'm hoping, because you have an email. Did you set an email up?
I'm setting one up tonight. I wanted to define our name first, so that's why I waited. Okay. But, yeah, no. So I'm setting one up literally right when we get done tonight.
So, yeah, we'll probably... we'll be on YouTube. We'll have a YouTube channel. We'll start. He's drunk again. He's drunk again? I'm just gonna say he's drunk. I'm sorry, fucking ass guy.
Is it hurting your throat?
He's drunk again? Episode. It's still funny though. It's still funny. But yeah. So we'll have a channel and we'll post on that for now. It'll probably be like, how long would you assume a month before we start posting on Podbean or anything like that, or SoundCloud? Because I don't know. And I'll have to look into it too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll probably be. I don't know, I'll be doing like the producing, I guess, for this episode. We can always because once once I know how, I'm gonna show you too in case I can't do it.
Yeah.
Or something like that. We'll both have to be in charge of it.
And like that's the
But
thing. I've used Audacity to edit a lot of videos before. I've made or not videos but sound before. I've made like a picture show and stuff for a journalism class out of a bunch of Audacity interviews. So like I've done this a little bit before. So like yeah, I mean like we can share it or whatever, whatever. That's not a big deal.
Well, yeah, it's not, that's like the least of my concern.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and I mean, hopefully we do it right, get everything down correctly. I think that covers the our little plans. Unless you had any more random ideas you haven't brought up yet.
No, I still have a few ideas brewing. I have a few things written down, but I'm still trying to form them into like real ideas. Instead of like, hey, how about this? Like I kind of want to get structure to them first.
Absolutely.
A few episodes to shout out coming up. One of them being, well, next week's gonna be like our big episode. Which also that one, I hope it's a lot of fun. It might not be like funny or anything, but I hope it's a lot of fun. That's gonna be our emo night neck deep So emo night concert, I don't know. We'll talk about that then. Emo night. I'm just gonna call it
emo night. Yes, emo night.
And the neck deep trophy eyes concert that I went to this past weekend, I will be reviewing. And then a few episodes coming up, me and Chase in December will be seeing Trophy Eyes again. So we'll be having a concert review in December to look forward to. In November, are you going to that concert? Are you gonna try to go?
I'm trying to go. I'm figuring out if I have any prior engagements, but I am trying to go. I literally on my Safari I have the ticket purchasing up, and it is like $23 or something like that for a regular admission. Which if I go, it's probably gonna be regular admission.
Okay. Then maybe I'll convince Stracco to go regular admission too. I bet I could convince him to do that. Because I'd rather have us all go together. It'd be way more fun.
That's fair, yeah.
But, yeah, so that's One to Your show in November, which is it's like a month away. So that's coming up to look forward to. And we're going to have a lot of weird episodes. Like the first, so probably like, I would be kind of surprised if this year we get any guests on. I would be kind of surprised because it's really like October is almost halfway over. It's almost we're almost halfway through October, and then November and December. So like, but we're gonna I was gonna talk to Johnny and see if in a few weeks you and me wanted to go to U of I. We could record an episode there.
Yeah,
it'd be fun. Absolutely. Or we could go. Really, dude, I'll come down there. We could record with all your friends. Something, just try to get like weird episodes going. Yeah, but I was gonna talk to Johnny next time if he ever answers his fucking phone. To get him, tell him that we're doing an episode together. And then in December, we had an idea that since everyone's going to be home for Christmas, we get all of our friends, like our really good friends, like the 6 of us in a room together, we have like a fucking 6-hour podcast. So that's going to be like a big, I'm going to call it a Christmas episode, Christmas extravaganza. Because I would like all of our friends to be like recurring guests.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
You know what I'd like?
The thing I kind of wanted to say. What? I
would like for the Christmas episode for us to get each other like random gifts, and we open it on the podcast.
You and me?
Yeah, all of
us.
Yeah, and we go through while we open the gifts and stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. I like it.
No, I really like the episodes. I agree 100%. It'll be like this year per se, because there's only 2 months roughly, 2.5 months left in the year. I assumed kind of the same thing as like the guests we bring on will be more friends related. Maybe some of them will be into the music scene too. I don't know. We'll see as we go along. But yeah, no, I agreed too. Like it'd be hard to get guests on this year, especially since like I'm seeing this part of these next like 2 months, 8 episodes, whatever it is, 10 episodes, as like us really getting into it, getting fluent in this process, and figuring out some of the fun stuff we want to do, and get everything posted where we want to post it, get our whatever we need set up, like I have ideas for a website and logos and stuff like that, so it's like I want to get all that done, so then like when we start bringing on guests, it's a real thing at that point, it'd be weird to ask like a band we don't know, hey, will you come on our podcast that's like sort of has this name and doesn't have like it doesn't have a logo. We sometimes post on Fridays. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want it to be like, yeah, this is what we do. This is what we do every week. This is our thing. Like,
we take this shit super seriously. We've had bands on before. We'd love to have you come on. And and like we need to like. I almost want to like when we have our friends on. I want to kind of treat it as like a practice interview.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because that way we can practice with them. Not to like say that we don't take like them seriously on. Because like anyone who we have on, fucking take seriously. But like. When we have our friends, we're definitely it's gonna be like a different. We're gonna have like a lot of those episodes. Gonna be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be like those are gonna be the really weird episodes. But So like that'll be our way of practice. When we have our friends, I'll be like practicing, warming ourselves up. And I've been watching a bunch of shit. Like I've been reading a bunch of things like how to interview people and.
Absolutely. I honestly like I had no intentions of ever being a journalism major. And, like, I'm not anymore. But the point is I had to take basic-level journalism classes, and that was probably one of the best things I've had to do just because, like, I knew how to talk to people, but I didn't know the structure in which to actually, like, elicit unbiased emotions out of people, you know, unbiased thoughts out of people, you know. And that was kind of a nice thing to learn. But, yeah, no. So, I agree. I think even when our friends are on, like, it's not that we're taking it seriously. Like, they're going to be a lot of fun. But, like, we are, you know, having it still be within an actual podcast, you know, our real thing still with our friends on. And that's actually one of the things I brought up. I was wondering any concerns you have for, like, how this thing could turn out, how it might, you know, ways it might go. Like, some of the stuff I mentioned, I had, like, 2 concerns per se, and it's that, like, I know myself, I'm a rambler, you know, like I'll start on this one thing. I did it a little bit when you asked what feelings music has brought about me, you know, how it's changed my life and stuff. I know, like, I ramble a lot and I kind of go from idea to idea, so like I'm more worried about structure in my own thought process so I can go from one area to the next and it's actually entertaining to listen to. It's not just like, oh, he's going off again. And then the second thing is I don't want it to be too, like, serious and depressing. So, like, it's this weird balance of finding structure, but also still being who we are, which is a ton of fun, you know? And, like, when we bring these bands on eventually, they're, like I've said, they're people who have dealt with issues and stuff, and they sing about it, but I don't want that to also be like, oh, we bring on depressing people and they only talk about serious stuff, which is one of the ideas I mentioned, sort of, was like, it's going to sound stupid hearing it in, just hearing it by sound, but the idea is that we do, like, something fun with these bands or whatever that we bring on every week, you know, and like a, like, hot dog eating contest or something stupid like that, and the idea is just, like, loosen them up, realize this isn't just like, oh, we talk about the feelings your music brings out and stuff. It's more like, dude, just let loose, let me know what you're thinking, joke a little, have some fun. Like, it's more or less about friends being friends and then random people becoming friends all in this podcast and learning who they are and stuff. So, like, I don't want it to be too serious. I want it to be fun. That's who we are. So, like, we don't want to lose that vibe of us. That's why people sometimes like us.
Sometimes, that's funny. Yeah, I really agree with the sentiment of unstructured or rambling, because, like, I'm really, like, literally the first 10 minutes of this episode are just us rambling.
Yeah.
Which, I don't want to, like, discourage that, because I love rambling, but, because, like, sometimes you get to, like, really good shit that way, and, like, I totally agree with the unstructuredness. Like, I would like some structure, but I don't want to lock ourselves in. I don't want either of us to be like, hey, like, fucking keep on task. Unless, like, we're getting really far off. We're like, no, we're like, oh, let's try to bring it back. But, like, that's one thing. My biggest concern is that we, like, don't keep doing it. We don't keep up with it. That's my biggest concern, because I don't want that to happen. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure it doesn't. Yeah. So I don't want, like, life to happen. You know what I mean? I don't want life, like, us to be like, oh, I got to go do something. It's like, this is, like, on Wednesdays now, like, I don't do anything on Wednesday night. This is my priority now. And, like, that's kind of what I'm, like, that's how I'm going to, like, kind of keep myself to stick to it. But, that's my only, I don't really have any other concerns. I mean, My only, I guess, like, kind of, it's just like a more like personal thing. Like, I just want to do a good job. That's what kind of concern. Like, I don't want to I don't want to half-ass it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I really, I just don't. I don't. If I do something, I want to do it right. I don't want to do a shitty job at it. So
well, like,
it's just kind of.
This is our thing that we're putting out there for other people to listen to. So like, yeah, I don't want like our thing to be shit, you know, like.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't really give a shit if other people like it.
No.
It's weird. Like I only. Like,
I know what you mean.
Weirdly, I'm kind of like doing this for myself.
I 100%.
When my thinking when we started this, kind of to bring it back to the beginning, is that I wanted to start a podcast I'd never heard.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've always, like, really, like, a podcast, like, I mean, granted, like, we're just starting, but, like, a podcast, like, talking about what we want to talk about now when I was in high school, like, holy fuck, that would have been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, talking about, like, all the bands I like and what they mean to them. Because I don't, like, one thing I don't want, I guess a concern I have is, like, I don't want this show to become, like, a news show.
Yeah.
Like, next week, this band's album's coming out, and we're going to, like, because we're probably going to do album reviews, I would think.
Yeah.
And to say on that, that's one of my plans to do album reviews. I am not a music critic. I'm not going to look at music analytically. I'm just going to talk about how it made me feel, and if I liked it, and I enjoyed it. Just say that now. I'm not an analyst. I don't know shit about music. I just know I like music. Just to put that out there. Yeah, so, yeah, I guess those are my concerns. Really, I don't have too many. I mean, it's just kind of little things.
No,
as we go on, we'll iron out all like the kinks.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I agree 100%. That's more or less what I meant by like getting it too serious. Is just like we're trying. I don't want to try too hard to make it like, oh, we have to make sure like people like it, and then like we also have to like make sure to like do this thing every week, and we have to make sure to like it needs to be freeform us, you know, for sure, 100%.
Stay true. Stay true to who we are.
Exactly, and like at the end of the day, I'm doing this because like I love this. Like I love just sitting down and talking, not worrying about anything else that's going on. Just like fuck it, let's just joke around, have fun. Talk about ideas, whatever, and I love it. So like that's why I'm doing it. If
dude.
This is nothing more than a audio diary for me, I'm fucking happy. End of story.
Fuck yeah, man. I totally agree. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking A.
I mean, is there anything else you wanted to mention?
Not really. I think we kind of covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think we got it all. I think we did pretty good. We got an hour and a half of podcast, which is pretty fucking solid. First episode, intro episode. First episode of He's Drunk Again?
He's drunk again?
He's drunk again? We might have to remove the question. I don't know. The more I say it, like, it kind of like, he's drunk again. I think, I don't know. We can put the question mark, but I'm not going to say, like, a question anymore.
Alright, that's fair.
I don't know. It is funny, though. He's drunk again? You can say it. You can say so many ways. Like,
it's a silent. It can be a silent question mark if you want it. I mean,
it's silent question mark when I want it to be a silent question mark.
When you want to make a joke, you figure you can throw it out. When you're feeling uncomfortable, you can just say it, and then maybe that'll get a laugh out of him.
See, you can say it so many ways. Like he's drunk again. Like,
yeah, and that's like, a little
He's drunk again. Like question like is he like he's drunk again? He was drunk like 20 minutes ago. He's drunk again. So,
and that's what I was going for out of a name, was just like I want to be able to say it in as many weird voices as we can. That was my only goal. So it sounds like it succeeded.
And that name weirdly fits the podcast. Like the more I say, the more it fucking is clicking in my head. Like that's perfect. Like it's so fitting.
It's weird.
It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Exactly.
Who's drunk again? Who is he? Why are we asking if he's drunk again? That's like many questions.
Story of my life. I make a sentence, and everyone has a million questions that I don't have the answers to.
Exactly. Yep.
So So I mean, we basically said everything. I mean, I think we can end it with a check this shit out.
Check this shit out segment of the show.
Wah, wah, wah.
Check this shit out. Alright,
Oh, I just thought of a way to enter and a little sound effect we can put somewhere in the podcast, and that's a yee yee. Yee. But that's a personal story that we're sounding weird now.
Bird calls. That's That's what we should name the show. Bird calls. God damn it.
Look, here's the issue: is I don't want a bunch of nature
Did we
freaks.
just change the name of the show?
I don't want a bunch of nature freaks coming on our podcast. That's not a mockingjay.
But wouldn't it be great if we got like a dude who like wanted to talk about bird calls and we tricked him into coming out of the show? And we were like, yeah, the North African mallard is really in season this time of year. Like
I just came up.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be the best episode ever?
A great April Fool's episode. We ask a random person to come on to a podcast that is not our podcast. We just make up a name and have them come on.
Oh,
and
that is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down really quickly so I don't forget.
Write that down. That is a great idea for an episode.
That's what I thought. And we can talk about whatever he's an expert in. I don't care. But it's just...
But, like, we need to be, like, totally fucking with him. We need to get someone who, like... Oh, my God. We gotta start thinking of who we can get. That is... I love how, like, violently you're typing.
Thank you. I am very excited about this idea.
That's a great idea. Oh, fuck. That is awesome.
I'm putting bird call so I don't forget, because I'm not going to lie. Even writing down the description, it's hard to describe what it is, but bird calls will bring it back.
Exactly. Yeah. He's drunk again. That's still the title of the show. He's drunk again.
It's not bird calls.
Not bird calls. We're not changing the name.
Maybe on April Fools.
Maybe a separate. We'll start a second show
on bird calls, because we know nothing on that either. So
on the He's Drunk Again network.
we're going to start a media company, a podcast that we have no expertise in at all.
That would be awesome. Mm-hmm. That's the goal. That's one of the goals, I guess.
Start an engineering podcast.
Exactly. All right. Time for the check this shit out segment.
Check this shit out.
AKA the conclusion of the show.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm bringing you a song. First episode, I'm going to throw a song your way. And it's going to be kind of an indie song, but it's an indie... I like comedy songs, that play a little fun in them. So, I don't know if you've heard it. Have you heard of The Wallows?
No, I haven't.
Okay. The Wallows 1980s horror film.
Is it WALLOWS?
Yes, exactly.
The Wallows, and it's called 1980 horror film?
Yep, 1980s horror film.
1980s horror film.
Yep.
Alright. I'm writing that down right now.
Perfect.
Underlining it. I wrote it in pens by hand, so I won't forget.
I'm going to type mine because I don't live in the 19th century, so.
Okay. I've had a few songs bouncing around my head.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick one that'll greatly help me next week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the bands I saw from next week, not giving too much away. It was the opener, and it's a band called Stand Atlantic.
All right.
And the song is called Coffee at Midnight.
All right. I'm excited.
It's a really good song. I talk about it a bit. It's a song I've been listening to like all week. I've listened to it like almost every fucking day. It's really good. How do you want to do this? Like, what are there any like things we have to do when we? Is this something like I have to listen to it every day? Do you want me to listen to it once and write down what I think? Listen to it again later, and write down my thoughts like the second time, and, like kind of like that.
I kind of like when it's a song like this. If we do songs more often, we can do the listen every day. I kind of like that idea. You're really going at it. You listen once a day at least, and like you have to feel that song a little bit.
And you can't just like put it on the back. Like I want like this song's really like I'm excited to like sit down and listen to this song. I feel like the Wallows. I'm pretty stoked to get. It's like comedy, you said.
Yeah, it's got a little tweak of fun in it that I really like.
Cool.
Like I heard it and I was like, oh, you got me.
That's cool. All right, I'm stoked.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally gonna listen to it tonight. But
yeah, me too.
So like we'll have to like write a review and then we'll talk about it at some point in the next. What are we gonna call the other half of this segment?
The other?
Let's check this shit out, and then when we our rebuttal, we need to have a name for it. I guess. Check this shit out.
I'll think of something. I'm thinking something to go along with shit. I like shit.
Yeah.
Like take peaky shit. No, hold on. I'm gonna. Something's gonna come. I'm gonna make a joke to my roommate, and then it's gonna come up eventually. That's usually how.
Yeah,
how
I'm
my
already.
ideas
I
go.
have one in my head, but it's like a really, 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 really long title. But I think it'd be kind of funny.
I'd like to hear it.
So like, I took your shit, now I'm shitting it back out, and here's the shit that you gave me.
I'd like you to write that down.
I don't know if I will remember it. I'll go back and listen. Well, that's the tentative title. The shit cubed.
Because I like how it is so long that it is stupid.
It's so long. I think like every time we'll change the name of like, oh, you gave me this thing to listen to. Now I'm giving it back. Now I'm telling you my review. That's basically what I'm saying.
And I like the idea of someday having sound effects in and out of it, so it sounds like we're coming up with a catchy title, and then it's this really long
it's
explanatory.
Like, I'll have to write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go back and listen to it, and I'll write that down.
Yeah.
That's funny.
For sure. Awesome. Yeah, so, I mean, this was the first episode of He's Drunk Again, or He's Drunk Again? Whatever you want to say.
Again? He's drunk again? You can say it so many ways. It shows how fun we are.
Exactly. And, yeah, we'll be coming every week. Next week specifically, we're going to be talking about Emo Night and Lucas's concert. So
Fuck yes.
I think it sounds like it's going to be a fun one.
It's going to be great. I'm really excited.
This was Chase Pierce.
This is Lucas Leffelman.
And this was He's Drunk Again.
He's drunk again? End of episode 1, motherfuckers. Peace.